Hello, everybody. My name is Izabela Lizon, and welcome to my channel. Today, I would like to talk about what happens when you start to speak your truth, say no to things, perhaps set boundaries, and follow your heart's calling. Many life coaches and guides encourage us to start speaking our truth, to really respect that voice that wants to come out, that the truth that wants to come out. And the more we start to practice it, the more natural it becomes, the harder it is to actually not say it. It becomes much harder to not say it because it's kind of like a muscle that we need to exercise. But what often isn't talked about is two lessons that will happen most likely if you start all of a sudden to speak your truth. So in this video, we're going to look at those two things that very often happen as a result. So if you'd like to see it, keep listening. As someone who's been coaching people on their human design and following their strategy and authority, I often tell people to follow their energy, their own authority. In human design, we have inner authority. Most people have inner authority, and some people have outer authority. It's a very small percentage, but people like mental projectors or reflectors have outer authority. They have no inner way of knowing. But majority of us have an inner mechanism, energetic mechanism that attunes us to what is correct for us and what is not correct for us. And by listening to that mechanism, we become more and more aligned, and we basically rewire and reprogram our body and our mind into what actually is not resistance, but is alignment. Because for many years, people make decisions based on expectation of other people, perhaps their own expectations of themselves. So in human design, we call it the expectation of our mind. The mind is never an authority in human design. So whatever comes from mind is always going to be mental energy that can be, this or that, but is not going to give us the answer of what actually is correct for us. Because even people who only have their mind as like a definition, mental projectors, we are not using that to make decisions. We are then using outer authority, the environment, what comes back. Mind is never an authority. So that's one thing. But what happens as we are stepping into speaking our truth and being more and more aligned is that at some point we may need to learn to say no to people, and we may want to be ready to say no to certain situations, to the way that our energy is engaged, to even to relationships, to work, different things. And the first thing that may happen, that happened to me, and I was very, very surprised and upset about that, was that before I was actually tested in my own boundary setting, I was tested by somebody else saying no to me. And it was a person who I did not expect them to say no, because I felt like what I asked for was just so little and so didn't require a lot of effort from them. And I've been giving a lot to that person. But when I asked for something, they said no. And at that moment, I really was jarred, and I got quite upset, because I realized I actually have an expectation from someone to say yes to what I'm asking for. It took a while before I realized the lesson was that actually, hey, if I want to be demanding from others to respect my no, or like maybe not demanding but expecting from others to respect my own no, how come I have expectations of others to say yes? I should also learn that it's okay for everybody to say no to me at any time, and I need to learn to respect their no matter how it might have feel like it's unjustified, and I have a right to receive a yes. In this case, like legally, I could argue that, yeah, legally I have the right, but the person denied it. um it was nothing harmful, by the way, don't worry about it. It was very minute little thing, but it was very jarring to me. It meant a lot to me at the moment, and I think that's why it happened, because this person actually gave me they gave me a gift, because by me facing my own anger of being denied, I was able to look at the part of myself that actually was expecting stuff from others. And I needed to learn that in order to have my own autonomy, I also need to respect other people's autonomy. And that is the first lesson that the universe is going to give you, most likely, if you are going to align with your own energy. And the second thing that is going to happen, and we know this happens, I've heard it from many sources before, so this one might not be as surprising to you, is that when you start saying no, even to little things, drawing your own boundaries, people will leave. People will get upset. And in my case, what happened is people actually left without the word, or they just told me I'm leaving. They did not yell at me or tell me, something mean, which I'm really grateful for. They just left. And those kind of abdications can be quite jarring. Interestingly enough, a lot of those people have a fourth line, which, in human design, the fourth line is the abdicator who just is going to all of a sudden just wave their hands like, I'm done. Okay. um, so that can be quite shocking and painful, especially if you were connected with this person on a regular basis, and all of a sudden they just leave. But knowing that I said no to something that was important to me, that was part of my truth, how I felt about something, and as a response, this person leaves. This person really is doing you a favor. It's a blessing in them leaving, because they're just removing their presence, which is not aligned with your truth. And as hard as it is, especially if you're someone who's feeling very like maybe lack of self-confidence, or needs to be reassured by others, or feels reassured when others follow them, it can be really jarring, and it could be feeling like, oh, perhaps I veered off, I'm on the wrong path, and that's why those people are leaving. We won't really know. But what I can say to this is that if you know in your heart that you need to do and say something, and even if this is uncomfortable to say, because for years you've been saying yes and agreeing because you did not want to shake the boat, but you cannot no longer hold that. You can no longer compromise your own energy, because it's not worth it. It's not worth to say no to your inner truth, because it's just, even if this person stays with you, it's always going to be this tiptoeing around it. It's always going to be this uncertainty. Are they really my friend, or are they here only because I'm afraid to tell them the truth of how I feel? So this is something that happens as a result of following our authority, following our truth, following our voice, is that we no longer can hold the truth. And as a result, people will leave. So the way I see it is that perhaps they leave because they're making room for those who will come after. And being in that, like in that uncertainty, not knowing what's going to come after, it's part of the process. It's another test where you can easily just give up and say, okay, this is not working. People are leaving. I'm saying how I'm feeling, and it's just getting worse and worse. Perhaps I should just give up. Perhaps I should just stop what I'm doing and go back to playing small, go back to not speaking my truth and letting other people be loud about their truth when I feel cringy inside listening to that. But perhaps that's not true. Perhaps that's a test of time and commitment where universe is aligning you to actually make space for what your true calling is, for what your next step or next chapter is. Not even true calling, because like that would mean that what you were doing before wasn't true. It was also true. It was part of the path. But what your next step is in your life, there needs to be room and there needs to be a certain adjustment before you can be matched with those new people, new situations, new opportunities that will come eventually. And in that time, in that quiet, the less we do, the better. The less we react and become, unnerved or upset, and perhaps spread gossip about those who hurt us, because it's all, our perspective, who hurt us, who didn't. Really, we hurt ourselves because we have some sort of an idea about what should happen or shouldn't happen, right? But if we can just hold this and be grateful for the experience and reflect and be true to our vision and quietly work on bringing our vision to life, quietly study whatever it is we want to offer to people, to master the system if you're a projector, or to do what brings you joy as a generator, then eventually things shift. It always does. So I hope you enjoyed this short reflection about living in alignment. Please let me know in comments if you have had an experience like this. How was it for you? Did you have an urge to hurt others as a result of being hurt? It's only human to feel that. But I just want to say that if we continue hurting someone because we feel hurt, it's only going to come back. It's only going to be reflected back to us. Because what we do to others, we do to ourselves. So I am allowing myself space to just be with myself, feel all my hurt by the people who left. So many people this year. Oh my gosh, something really big must be happening. And I'm so grateful to every one of those people for showing me my resilience, for teaching me about my own vengeance, my own jealousy, my own codependence. Those are really good lessons. So if you resonate with this, share in the comments. Of course, like, subscribe always helps to grow the channel, but only if you want to do it. So thank you so much. Thank you for our time, for listening to this message, and I'll see you next time.